Hello, hi everyone. So my name is Blessing, like you guys already know. And here on this channel, yes, I know I shared with you about um IMG pathways, and today I'm so glad because we have somebody who has taken the Australian pathway here on the channel today to actually give us, first person information. So this is not like we are getting it from a website or maybe somebody said somebody. This is from the horse's mouth. So I'm really excited. And I'm just going to be asking him a few questions. So and this is for IMG doctors who are considering options, countries that you can relocate to. We have said it times and times again that Australia is one of those countries that you can consider relocating to as an IMG. But then we also want to understand all the other intricacies around it and why it could be an option for you. So here with me today is Dr. Emmanuel. He's a medical doctor in Australia. So he will just introduce himself to you guys and we will take it from there. Okay. Hi, Dr. Emmanuel. Welcome to this.
Hey,
I'm really happy to have you here.
yeah, thanks, Blessing. Sorry, it's not long that I entered Australia, Sha, but the name Dr. Emmanuel is sounding strange because here we just call ourselves by our first name, no title or
Oh,
anything
okay,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, that I don't know how the UK is, but over here everyone is just first name. That
Yeah,
first
we
name.
call
Not even
ourselves
second.
by our first name, but I'm
Yeah,
just putting the title because you know
yeah,
that it's not only doctors that actually create this kind of content. There are some
absolutely.
immigration organizations that also do
Yeah,
this kind
so
of
I
content. So it's
understand.
just
Yeah,
for to
yeah.
make it clear that you are really a doctor.
Mm,
Here in the UK, we
okay.
call ourselves by first name.
Oh,
So
great.
my name is Blessing, really.
Yeah. So I'm Emmanuel.
Yeah.
I'm a medical doctor, currently a hospital medical officer in one of the hospitals in Australia, Victoria,
Okay.
precisely.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Victoria. Okay.
it's good to be here and see how I can help.
Okay. You've been in Australia for how long, please?
I moved ending of March this year, and as at the time when ending October now, so roughly 7 months. Yeah, so I'm pretty new, very new in Australia. Sure.
Okay.
Mm,
Wow. 7 months is like you're still very fresh. So that means
yeah.
that everything is still going to be very clear in your head. So this is actually like the best time to have this conversation. Like by the time you work for like 2 years and you are asking, I'll be like, okay, I think I did it this way. I think I did it this way. And then you'll be mixing things up and things might have really changed so much that it might be entirely different
Yeah.
from what you really did. So I'm really
Absolutely.
happy that you are here. Thanks for your time. Thanks for agreeing to do this. Okay, so without wasting further time, without wasting any more time, I'll just go ahead to the questions. So my first question is why Australia? Like there are so many countries you can jackpot to as an IMG doctor, but why did you decide Australia?
Okay, I had been a fan of Australia right from time. Growing up as a child, we're one of the few people that had cable, so we usually watch a lot of Western content. And surprisingly, I loved the UK very well because I grew up with Sky News, Sky Sports, Sky One, and the rest. But then somehow I became aware of Australia too, and I liked the country. The late Steve Irving, the Crocodile Dundee then. I used to watch some of his documentaries then, and I was quite keen on Australia. Then this Hillsong further made me love Australia. I
Okay.
was like, I need to go to Australia, I need to go to Hillsong. But then the controversies that happened and the rest. Surprisingly, I've been here, I've not even really checked out Hillsong. So
Mm,
that's it for me. But then medically, I realized it's a good place to be. I have a few people that had been here before now, and I've spoken to them too to weigh the options. Yeah, I need to add that despite the fact that I came into Australia in March, I had Japa from Nigeria since 2021. So I was in Saudi Arabia before,
okay.
from Saudi Arabia, and now moved to Australia. So
Mm,
there are different factors to that. If maybe I would say I had moved directly from Nigeria to Australia, it would have been a bit more difficult for me, not even a bit more difficult for me, but being in Saudi Arabia made things a bit easier for me to make the decision to come here. So talking with people in Australia and having people, a lot of people in the UK, and also Canada. Normally our places, our common places are UK, US, Canada, and a few people Australia. So, but I was privileged enough to have a few people that were in Australia, and I spoke with them about the things. And they encouraged me. And some of the factors that really made me focus on Australia is that first, I'm a family man. So moving is not easy. Moving with family is not easy too. So I wouldn't want to go somewhere that I want to stay for just a few years and then have to move out. Also, it's going to be stressful for everyone,
Mm,
especially the family. So
mm,
Australia suited my long-term plan. That was the first thing.
okay.
The second thing is that it has a very healthy work-life balance, and then
Mm,
it's really pro-family too. So the
mm,
decision was just in the focus of me being a a doctor that has other extra doctor interest or extra medical interest, and then
mm,
something that also suits my family long term. And Australia
mm.
just ticked the box for me in that way, and I decided to go in that direction, despite the fact that it's more expensive than the other options
Mm,
and more difficult per se. So
mm.
these are the reasons.
So, did you think that the pathway or the process would have been different if you came directly from Nigeria compared to
Definitely.
coming from Saudi?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so how would it have been different?
Okay, so the major thing is it's very expensive.
Okay,
It's extremely expensive. And that's one of the major reasons most Nigerian IMGs move to the UK, because UK is the cheapest. It's not as if it's cheap, but it's the cheapest compared to the other options.
affordable. It's the
Yeah,
most
it's affordable.
affordable.
Let me use the English. It's the most affordable for, yeah. And so that's it. Many people, I speak for a few IMGs that I know, they even use the UK as a transit camp, per se. Let's move, and eventually we'll go to the countries of our choices. But Australia is very expensive. So I am sure that if I was coming directly from Nigeria with the money I had spent, I think my entire village will have to sacrifice themselves to sponsor my movement towards there. So
Mm,
Saudi helped me to be in a better place financially to make that decision compared
mm.
to if I was in Nigeria. So it's more of the financial,
So it's just the financial aspect,
it's more of the
really,
financial
not
aspect for
not
me.
the
Just
the
more of the
other
financial.
licensing part of it.
Now you can actually move from Nigeria. Saudi doesn't confer any extra advantage per se. So it was just more of the from the financial perspective that I might not have made that decision. Who knows? From Nigeria.
Okay. So going over to the steps, what were the
Yeah.
steps involved?
Okay, you would have to write the exams. There are
Which
actually three.
exams?
There are actually broadly three ways you could move to Australia as a
Okay.
medical doctor, as an IMG. The first
Okay.
one is the standard pathway, which is you write the exams,
Which
the
exams?
AMC exams, the Australian Medical Council exams. So there's AMC one and AMC two. AMC one is the multiple choice exams, and then the AMC two is a clinical exam, just like PLAB one and two, the AMC's version of the PLAB one and PLAB two. So you have to write the exams and then apply for the job. And the good thing is that you could actually get a job by after writing and passing AMC one, but you get like a limited registration. And for you to get the full registration, you would have to sit for the AMC2, or you could also use PLAB. It depends. Then the competent authority pathway is for IMGs that have experience, are registered and have experience in what the AMC or the Australian Medical Council deem as competent authorities. So there are a few medical boards that they recognize. So like the GMC is one of them, the US board too, that of Canada, and which other country? A few countries like that.
New
It's on
Zealand
the
and
Upper
Republic of
Western.
Ireland.
Yeah, Republic of Ireland. Yeah. So if you have registered with them and you have experience, so then you would be eligible for the competent authority pathway. And that means that what you do is that APRA, that's the Australian Health Practitioners Regulatory Authority, would
Mhm.
now inquire more through the competent pathway, competent authorities, that's your medical board, and see that, okay, this guy has or this lady has this experience, and we could bring the person over. And then the third one is the specialist pathway, which is for specialists, obviously. You
Okay.
directly register with the boards, the different boards, like the different boards, royal colleges, and the rest, and you pay a certain amount. It's quite expensive. And if you fail, the money don't go, or the money is gone. And You these are broadly the three ways you come. So I use the standard pathway. I wrote the MC exams, MC1 exams, and applied for jobs. Luckily, I was invited for an interview for one. That's the only interview I did, and luckily, I got the job.
Okay. So you haven't done AMC2 yet?
No, as at this time, I'm yet to do AMC2, but I plan to do so within next year and get my full registration.
Okay. So right now you don't have a full registration.
Now I'm just limited registration.
So, but with that limited registration, in what role are you working? Are you working like a SHO or like a foundation doctor?
You guys have the way you do your stuff is different. The rank of doctors in the UK is different from the rank of doctors in Australia. So,
Okay.
like the foundation doctors, we call it the HMO, hospital medical officer, or yeah, hospital medical officer is usually the role that we play. Then after that, you go into training if you want as a registrar, and then you become a consultant. So it's more simplified. If you follow the Nigerian pathway, that you know that there's the intern, there's the medical officer, there's the registrar, and then there's the consultant.
So the
So
intern here in the UK, that's the foundation doctors, the first
yeah,
year foundation
oh,
one and two. Then after that,
okay.
you become SHO or you go into training. So if you get a non-training role, we call it SHO. So you're like a senior house officer, but yeah, that's a medical officer kind of thing in Nigeria.
oh,
While but if you go into training, we now call it a core training.
oh,
So that's what you do, and then you follow that pathway and become a consultant. So
yeah,
some persons they can do SHO for a few years. When they have gained enough experience, they can graduate to a middle
oh,
grade, but
okay.
like a non-training middle grade role
Oh,
because of your experience. So that kind of thing. So but now after writing the AMC2, then you can now decide if you want to continue as a medical officer, right? Or you want to
yeah,
get into specialty training.
yeah. Actually, you
Okay.
decide that.
So, but that
Yeah.
will definitely come with some money, like a rise in your pay, right?
Definitely, definitely. In fact, locum job here is very lucrative. So there are many doctors that have gathered enough experience and they just work as either HMOs, that's the hospital medical officer, or the registrar, depending. And they can be, the pay is quite good. So some just choose not to even train at all and just continue as those particular roles till they're done. Get what
Mm.
I love, they want to get move on with their life.
Okay.
The option is there.
So, okay. So
Mm.
you were saying something about PLAB for the standard pathway. What did you mean?
For the standard pathway, yeah, people with PLAB, if you've passed PLAB 2, you can actually apply through the standard pathway too. That's for IMGs that do not have the UK experience. Because if you have the UK experience, some say for 6 months, some say for a year, but it's safe to just be there for a year. And then once you have that UK experience for a year, you are eligible via the competent authority pathway. But if you don't have that, like for people that have passed PLAB and have not yet gotten into the UK to work or have the experience, you could go through the standard pathway, but you would have to sit for the AMC1 exams. So
Okay.
despite having PLAB 1 and 2, you would have to sit for the AMC1 exams. But then after you pass that, you get initially the limited registration. But after a year, you don't need to sit for any exams again. You just change and get your full registration and decide to do whatever you want to do with your life.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad. Really for guys that have PLAB too. So the main
Yeah,
thing is just to look for the money and study for AMC too. Wow, I actually
exactly.
didn't know it was like that because I used to think that for you to do the standard pathway via PLAB,
Mm,
you must have
mm.
at least 1 year of experience in those countries. I didn't know it was the standard part, the competent authority pathway.
The competent authority pathway.
Oh, that's actually very great. I believe this is going to
Mm.
be good news to a lot of people.
Yeah,
Knowing that your PLAB is not wasted. I also know that there
yeah.
are some other countries that you can also apply to with your PLAB, like
Mm.
Republic of Ireland. But I didn't know that it was this easy for Australia. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's good. That's good. And
Mm.
for the competent authority, so having up to 1 year of experience is enough to actually qualify for the competent authority. Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay,
Mm,
so
yeah.
for the qualifying exams, what you basically need to write is the AMC one
One.
first
Yeah.
to get a job, and
Yeah.
then, but it's just going to be like limited registration,
For
and
a year.
then you proceed to your AMC two. So what happens if after a year you still do not pass your AMC two?
Okay. So as it is now, you could renew your limited registration up to 3 times.
3 times. So that means you have 3 years.
You have 3 years to try and pass either the AMC to or the PLAB, depending on whichever one you want to take.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
an option,
it's
really.
an option.
AMC two or PLAB two.
Oh, yeah, and that was changed. It was changed around the COVID time when COVID showed every country that we don't have enough healthcare workers. Prior to that, you would have to sit for the AMC2 exams. But then with that COVID stuff, the APRA just relaxed their demand and were like, okay, if you have PLAB2, we'll take you to
Oh,
get. And usually the reason why AMC2 is very notorious, like the pass rate is extremely low.
mm,
Recently, they reduced the requirement, but even with that, pass rate has been in the upper 20%.
wow,
So, and it is,
that's
yeah,
poor.
yeah, it's a very tricky exams. And as such, people prefer to write the PLAB. And I'm still contemplating between writing the MC and the PLAB for obvious, I don't know. But anyways, by next year, hopefully, by this time next year, I should have written whatever I want to write. And I hope to be successful in that and just move on with my life. Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Thank
Um,
you.
okay, so you have actually told us about all the possible pathways for an IMG doctor, so I won't be going over that again.
Mm.
So now we are going to jump to how much did it cost you? Now, let's say, imagine you don't have your family. You're just like a single guy and you're trying to move, let's say, from Nigeria to the UK. How much is it going to cost you? So we are breaking it down to the exams. How much did the exam cost? Then did you have to do like a registration, like when we do GMC registration, how much did that cost you?
Mm.
Then every other thing says like I know there are so many other things, but in
Yeah.
summary, how much did the whole journey cost you?
Okay. It's a bit difficult for me to say that because I did it while I was in Saudi Arabia. So I was using the Saudi Arabian reals. It's difficult for me to give the estimate in Nigerian naira because I did mine while I was in Saudi. But I will just try and, for the sake of uniformity, I would use the Australian dollars and give an average range because currently the Australian dollars, $1 is about 1,000 naira. It fluctuates there and then, sometimes upper 90s, upper 900s to the lower 1,000s. But let's say roughly 1,000, $1 is like 1,000 naira. And the first thing you would have to do is to set up an AMC portfolio. Unlike PLAB, that the GMC registration is after you had passed the exams. But this one, you set up the portfolio first. And the portfolio is around 650 Australian dollars, thereabout. I can't really remember precisely. So
So that's
you
already like
budget around,
650K.
yeah, so you budget around 700K. You know, all these international charges and the rest. So 700K plus, let's say 720 to 750,000
Thereabout.
for that's for the AMC portfolio that you're going to set up, which is necessary, or else you won't be able to book the exam. At the same time, you have to verify your certificate and EPIC, as we know.
Yeah.
So if you had not yet had an EPIC account, you have to open one. Setting up the account is $100. I think that's US dollars.
Yeah.
And then after you set it up, you would have to upload each certificate costs you around $50, I think. If
Mm.
I Yeah, $50 for each. So it depends. Like if you're an MBBS, you're not a specialist, your certificate, that's your school certificates, is enough for you. You don't need to upload your medical license. The school certificate is enough for you. But if you have other qualifications or other papers that you think are important towards you looking for a job, you could upload those ones. Each of them cost $50, I think. If I think it's $50. So then I just found out that that's when I was doing my EPIC registration, that some schools would demand that you pay them. That's your school would demand you pay them certain amounts before they respond to EPIC too. So like where I
Mm.
graduated from, you pay $100 for that.
Okay,
So
maybe that's new because I remember I didn't pay. I
Yeah,
didn't pay during mine. I didn't pay.
exactly. It's a new thing. You pay $100. So no, everything cost me like $350 then. So the paper, okay, I think setting up is $150. Yeah, setting up is $150. You pay $100 for each document that you're uploading, and
That's two
then
fifty, and
yeah,
then you paid $100 to
yeah,
your school.
exactly. Yeah. So this is the number: $150 for setting it up, $100 per certificate that you're uploading or per
Mm.
yeah, and then $100 if or depending on your school. If it's free, good, it's $250 you're paying. And
Mm.
then if your school demands an amount, you have to know the amount and pay them. So what I did then is that I didn't give any indication. The people I'm supposed to pay to, I didn't give any indication that I was abroad. I paid in
Mm.
Nigerian naira and I gave the naira equivalence of that.
Mm.
Before they say, you're abroad, give us something for sure. You know how I think can be. Remove that
Mm-hmm.
part. They will come and blast us inside. So that's it. And you need to set up the account because AMC, you have to set up the AMC portfolio because when you're now doing your Epic registration, you'd have to indicate to Epic where they're sending your verified certificate to. So if you
Mm.
hadn't had a portfolio yet, you'll just be stuck. And if you have not done the Epic, because you need to verify your certificate with Epic, before AMC will now
I
deem you
recognize
eligible.
it.
Yeah, deem you eligible to recognize you and deem you eligible for sitting for the exams.
Mm.
So that this run concurrently. Australian dollar, sorry, the US dollars is more. It has a higher value than the Australian
Don't
dollar.
worry, I've done the calculation.
Exactly.
Is around 500
A
and
thousand.
something thousand naira.
Exactly. So if you join that, it's nearly about let's say around 1.3, 1.4 million just to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're eligible now, you'd have to sit for the exams. You have to pay for the MC1 exams. And when I wrote mine then, it was around 3,300 Australian dollars.
3,300.
Australian dollars.
Wow. So that's about
Yeah,
3.3 million.
that's there if you're going to put it like that way. But now it was being reduced to 2,100, thereabouts.
Mm.
2,900, I mean. So it's
Wow.
around that, let's say roughly 3,000.
Wow. So why the reduction? Are they trying to encourage doctors to
Yeah,
come?
maybe encouraging because
You
as at the
already
time,
have a lot of UK doctors that are japping to Australia now. A lot of UK doctors are running to Australia. So
you know, the thing is, Australia is quite big. It's a continent. It's very big. So there are many rural areas that need doctors. Many rural areas that need doctors too. So no matter what you do, there'll still be need for that. It's part of encouraging people to come
it
into
means
them.
So it means Australia is like a possible like an untapped ground now. Like not like it's untapped, but at least there's still
Mm,
opportunities
there's
available
still
for
opportunities.
IMG doctors.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
agree.
good. I'm
I
really
agree.
glad we are having this
Mm,
video because I
yeah.
really need like it. Recently I've actually been so worried about people because I'm like, some persons have GMC registration and they've been there for like a year, two,
Mm,
no
yeah.
job, and
Mm,
currently the UK job market is not smiling at all. Like, no, people are not
yeah.
getting vacancies are not being advertised, and it's
Mm,
only like mainly through the training pathway, and even that now is under a lot of scrutiny with the whole medical UK graduates prioritization. It's really going to impact on IMGs. So really I think this is like good news for IMG doctors.
for
So I really
IMG. Yeah,
appreciate you,
true.
for this.
True, it's true. But at the same time, it's not also easy to get jobs here
Okay.
because they too prioritize the citizens and permanent residents. And initially, when before I relocated, these things look like they're being biased, they're loving themselves also. But when you now realize that every country has a primary responsibility to their citizens, it
Yeah.
makes sense. You shouldn't be angry. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, the cost of training a medical doctor, because many of these Western countries, the students take student loan to train themselves. So
Yeah.
that means that they are owing the government money. And it doesn't make sense that government are giving money to train and then you don't have something that we can use to collect the money back. So that's why they always want to prioritize these people. And because they're citizens or permanent residents, they are more likely to stay and invest in the country, which boosts the economy compared to you and IMG. That you just spend the minimal minimal amount to just keep yourself comfortable, but you send a huge chunk home for many people that want to develop their homes and eventually move out.
Not
So
a lot of people. So now I think I'm sorry, but I think I want to disagree with you on that because
okay,
there are so many IMGs who are looking for countries where they can really settle on a long term. And UK used to be that place for a lot of people. And even till now, a lot of IMG doctors they have investments here in the UK. Some have gone into like business and a whole lot of things until recently.
yeah,
But we all
mm,
of these things that is happening right now, I think is really discouraging a lot of people. And that's why, like recently, especially nurses, a lot of nurses
mm,
are leaving and going to
okay,
the US, going to Canada. Because people,
mm,
it's just funny being in a country where policies just change rapidly.
yeah,
It puts you in that consistent state of fear. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen?
mm,
So somebody is saying, "Oh, we are going to extend ILR," and then another person will come and be like, "Oh, we are going to take it out completely." And you, the IMG, you
mm,
just be like, "Okay, what is my fate
okay,
in this country?"
exactly.
So it just makes you feel like I can't have a permanent plan here. But until then, a lot of people, I think it's just a small fraction of doctors that go to a particular country and then with plans to move to another one. Yes, I know that for some persons they might move to the UK, like get some money and then write
Mm,
USMLE because they may not be able to
mm,
raise that fund back home in Nigeria.
yeah,
But then for a lot of people, they usually come with the intention to really settle. And
okay,
except something really happens, like something major happens, their plan is actually to stay for a long term in that country. So I know that for some persons who are relocating to Canada, relocating to some other places, maybe they didn't have such plan really at the beginning. But I guess the current situation of things is actually pushing a lot of people to,
pushing,
like take steps, especially if you're an IMG doctor in the UK in a non-training
mm,
role. Nothing is
yeah,
guaranteed really. So it's just easier for you to go somewhere where you are more stable. Imagine a place like Canada, some even get PR before they even come in. And some get like within a year or two you get PR. And then
mm,
here is UK where you have to stay for like 5 years before. And even now we don't
mm,
know how long again,
yeah,
before you get
exactly,
Tyler. So there's that uncertainty around it
yeah,
that, could make it unattractive and discouraging to people.
mm.
So besides the AMC, which other thing did you do? Like the exam, after the exams, any other thing you had to pay for? I don't mean your
Definitely.
relocation. That one is your personal expenses.
Okay. So, yeah, you have to sit for the English exams too.
Okay.
But the good thing
IELTS.
about IELTS, OET,
Oh, okay.
PTE too, APRA recognizes PTE too now. And
PTE.
yeah,
Mm.
it's in English exams. So we know IELTS, we know OET, we know TOEFL. I don't know if they recognize TOEFL, but PTE is recognized here.
Mm.
And you can sit for that. And but the good thing about AMC exams, unlike GMC or the PLAB exams, is that you don't need that to write. You don't need the English test to sit for the exams.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but you would need it to get a job.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
usually advisable that you have the English exams ready because it's not when you now pass your AMC that you now be booking for English exams. And maybe
Yeah.
that window that you don't have the English exam might be where job
You could lose
opportunity.
opportunities.
Exactly. So you're booking for the exams and it takes a couple of weeks before your result comes out. So let's say it might take you more than a month after you've passed your AMC to get your
Get your
English
results.
entries. And that window might be very valuable. So it's advisable based on your discretion to write the English exam sometime in between, maybe before or during the prep, but then it distracts you. Whichever one you're going to do, get your English exams, it comes in handy. You don't need it before you write the exam, but you definitely need it for the job. And after you've secured your job too, you need it for your visa because English requirements part of English, your English exams is part of your visa requirements too. So that's very important. I wrote the OET then. And in Saudi, when I wrote the OET in Saudi, it's about the same price with IELTS. But I found out that in Nigeria it's not the same. OET is way more expensive than
Yeah.
IELTS. And
Yeah.
I prefer the OET exams because it's professional. Like it's based on your area of specialty. So as a doctor, you're not worried that you're going to bring some engineering terms or some agricultural terms. It's basically medical English, medical jargons. So speaking, reading, listening, writing are just medically oriented stuff. In fact, the speaking is even like almost either clerking a patient or breaking bad news or whatever scenario they give you. And so far as you can speak English, you could just do this one. That's it for me. But that's why I chose the MC exam. So that's another
That's
cost to
good.
consider. But then the other thing that would really cost you is the exam center.
Okay.
So the AMC exams is being done by Pearson VUE, and there are a lot of Pearson VUE centers. Even in Nigeria, we have like is it two or three, but then those centers do not host the AMC exams. And in Africa, it used to be only South Africa, but recently Kenya too has started hosting the AMC one exams, and then the UK in London, you can write it there too. But I wrote mine in India because
Mm,
India was closer to Saudi Arabia. It's about 4 hours flight. I wrote it in Mumbai then. So that was
mm.
it. It's another expense that you have to factor in.
Yeah, so you have to travel to a location.
Yeah, you have to travel to a location. If it's Kenya, good. If it's the UK, if it's South Africa, wherever you want to write, this is something you have to consider. So that means if it's a country that you require visa, you have to apply for the visa and make
Yeah.
sure then the cost of traveling, hotel, accommodation, feeding, and the rest will be some factors you also have to consider. So that one is now relative. It's relative to where you're going to. And
Mm.
then then after you've written the exams, you've passed. Interviews normally you wouldn't pay anything for that one at all. But
Yeah.
then yeah, that one is not. When you now get the job, is when you now spend plenty money.
What money again are you spending after you get the job?
You would have to the upper registration process, which you would do. Upper registration is around 2,500, between 2,300 to 2,400, thereabout Australian dollars.
Mm.
But then you know that you'd have to get your certificate of good standing.
Yeah.
You have to get it from each medical board you've worked with. So for someone
Yeah.
like me that work with that, I'm registered to the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria and also the Saudi Commission for Health Professional SFHS for healthcare services. I had to get the certificate of good standings from both places. Luckily for me, I got my own certificate of good standing the day before they now jumped it from 100 and something thousand to four hundred
To
and something
400
thousand.
and something. Yeah.
Yeah. And surprisingly, when I was going to Saudi Arabia then, it was like 60 something K or 50 something, 60 something K. Then like 3, 4 years later, it was 100 plus. And then just shot to 420
Yeah,
or
these are the kind
thereabout.
of things that MDCN can do.
Exactly. But for that of Saudi, it's pretty straightforward. You just go to, you already have an account you have an account as a doctor called Umaris Plus, and you can easily go apply and get your stuff. You download it there and then. And it's there, it's like 350 reals. And then, like, when I left Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabian reals was like, let's say 400. So now it should be around that. So 350 times 400. Not really that
That's
plenty.
about 140K.
Exactly, compared to what you're paying for MDCM. So if you have registration with different boards, you'd have to get the certificate of good standing
Mm,
from all of them. And then there's this international criminal clearance or
mm,
international criminal check that you have to do. And that
yeah,
also has to do with whichever country you spent time in. So
at
if
least
you're
1 year.
uh, at least 1 year. So I was in Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. I had to do the check for both of them. And then I used the fit no, the AIS. I use the AIS. There are two major companies that do that, AIS and Fit to Work. I couldn't, Fit to Work is the more popular one. I had some problems with registering with the AIS, with the Fit to Work. So I used AIS then, and it cost me around 150 something Australian dollar per country. So because I stayed in both Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, it was over 300, around 360, 370 Australian dollars. So that one is there. And then other things you're going to get, like you're going to notarize your documents. Like there's some things that will just cost you before you now do the APRA registration. That is around 2,200 Australian dollars thereabouts. And after you've done that and you've gotten the registration, you now apply for your visa.
Mm.
And visa is mad, like 3,300, 3,400 Australian dollars per adult.
Wow.
So you can imagine if you're married and you have children, children is around 700. if I'm not mistaken. It's around 700 per head. So someone like me that I have 3 kids, I have to pay for my wife and my 3 kids. I paid over 7,000 plus Australian dollars just for visa application. And we're not talking about the flight money and some other things you will have to pay. So many people, in order to minimize cost, want to come alone. But it's advisable that when you're applying for the visa, especially as a doctor, you'll be given a reasonable visa that will facilitate you becoming PR quickly. It makes sense that you want to register, you want to apply for the visa together with them, even if they are not coming. So you have
Yeah.
to apply together with them. And what is going to save is just flight money. But you spent reasonable amount of money to bring them over, to get the visa for them. That's something. So
Mm.
and I forgot the medical checkups and the rest that you have to do while applying for the visa. It's not really that expensive. I did mine at IOM. I came down to Nigeria to do mine because my family had moved to Nigeria then. And
Mm.
so I came down to Nigeria and we did it then. I think the entire amount I spent at IOM wasn't up to, let's say, around 600K, not up to 700K for all of us. So all the medical checkups we did didn't cost us beyond that. I don't know how it's going to be now because the way the country usually goes sometimes, it's well, that's what I would say. So if you look at it, it's very, very expensive. And
Anyway, I understand that it's expensive, but I don't think it is like the way you say that, oh, UK is the affordable one compared to this one. I don't really know if, of course, it looks like it, but the difference is not that much, you get. So I'm sure that somebody won't mind spending this amount to come to Australia if it will offer them a better chance at getting a job than being
yeah,
stuck in the UK or with
yeah,
the UK process, you get. So
mm,
because to write PLAB 2 now, I don't know how much that costs. PLAB 2 now should be about £1,000. That's
yeah,
that's around 2 million in Nigeria. PLAB one before by the time you had all of that together. I'm just looking at the things that are different. The certificate of good standing is the
mm,
same for everybody.
yeah, it's the same.
IELTS, ECFMG
Mm,
is the same. It's
yeah,
just the portfolio we don't do, but eventually, of course, we do GMC registration, but we don't do
mm,
that portfolio. So that one is the money that we don't spend if you are coming to the UK. But
yeah.
then even the UK visa is not even smiling again. You get like
Uh,
so it actually does cost a lot for you to do for you to process visa and all of that, but I don't think it's as expensive as 3.5 M per person. So like I really appreciate that this is really more expensive, but I
mm,
think whoever wants to consider this option should it's something that is possible, it's something you can raise. This is everything is looking like close to about 10 to 15 million, really. People spend way much more than that to come for a master's degree here in the UK, just a 1 year master's program that they may not
mm,
even do anything with. Yeah, so if as a doctor that is going to give you the opportunity to get a job, I don't think it's actually too much of a money to spend. It's a lot, but at least you know that you're going to get a job and you're going to work hard and you're going to
uh,
get your money back. So even if it's to take a loan, you're going to pay back eventually as long as you get to work. So
yeah.
I think this is really like this is really quite encouraging, and I really want to appreciate
Mm,
you for your time. And thank you for coming to this channel. And please keep in mind, because
so,
I know that when this video is posted, a lot of people are still going to come and ask me questions. And so I hope that I can still be able to, push that question back to you. But more importantly, I'm actually thinking of another content already that I want to do with
mm,
you. We need to
yeah,
compare how much we are earning as per you being in Australia, because I've been hearing some really amazing things about this Australia earning. I saw
yeah,
a doctor recently who made a video about how much I earn, and the video has gone viral. So I'm like, okay, we need to hear about this Australia money you get. Maybe that's like the new,
uh,
that may be the
no,
next, the
no
next way to
problem,
make it. So
no
who
problem.
says? So I'm
Yeah.
just prepping your mind now. So just prepare your mind that in the future I'm going to contact you at Dr. Emmanuel Alpha. Let's do this
Mm,
video, and I hope you don't mind. So when that time comes, you'll not
no,
be
it's
like,
okay.
Auntie, why are you disturbing me?
No, it's okay.
So, but
Like salary is not something that is even being hidden. It's in your contract, like, and it's fair. It's fair across all borders. If you're coming in, I think maybe for some few peculiarities, but it's about the same in most of the places. So it's not really something that is hidden. depending on your role per se.
It's not
So
hidden now, but you need to give people ginger. Oh. You know, like some people, that's what they need to see for them to know that beg this money will look for it, I beg and do this exam. Again, for some
yeah,
persons, that's the motivation they really need, to
yeah,
consider
exactly.
all of these things. Because like if we are looking at a country like Nigeria now, currently the economy is really poor and things are
Mm,
really difficult, even
mm,
for the high earners. So
yeah,
it might you some people might just be like, please, I don't know where to get that kind of money. But when you see a video where you start saying, oh, this is how much we earn in a month and all of that, it might just give somebody the encouragement to like, okay, I know that I'm supposed to travel. This is something that I've
mm,
always wanted to do. I became
mm,
discouraged because of lack of funds, but
mm.
now I have the motivation kind
Yeah,
of story.
exactly,
So
exactly,
that's just the whole idea behind it. And you think
exactly.
it's obvious, but I am in the UK. I don't have any idea how much you earn. So just the same way I don't have that information, a lot of people don't also have that information. So it's
Okay.
okay.
That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
But there's something I need to add again at the end because some people might have the. It's good to be. This thing is, if I could come here, forget it. It's not as if someone had any special connection also. But if I could come here, it's doable. But at the same time, again, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not as if
Mm-hmm.
you just write AMC and
And
just
then
get a job.
strolling.
Yeah, because many people have that kind of mindset. And then if getting a job now starts delaying, many people now start getting discouraged and the rest, and they think that is abnormal. But it's not like that. There are people that had written the exams for over a year before they got the job. Because as I had said, and we know that is that most of these countries will prioritize their own people first. And then definitely they would want to take people from competent authority places
Yeah.
because these people are now, they've been tried and trusted, and they would be safe per se to come into the system. So
Yeah.
for IMGs that don't have this experience, it means that you have to prove very hard. You have to prove
Beyond reasonable doubt.
unreasonable doubt that you're safe because nobody wants to employ a liability.
Mm.
You understand? These hospitals that are going to bring you in actually spending money to bring you in.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that you're worth it first, and then you're not going to put them in trouble too. So if you're someone that's not had this Western exposure, you have to demonstrate that, okay, I know I am a safe doctor and I'm willing to know. You have to demonstrate that. So your CV has to be very tight. And then when you have job interviews too, you have to demonstrate that properly.
Mm.
So many times, like rejection letters, we call them love letters. We've received multiple rejection letters. In fact, I even received a couple of rejection letters after I come here. So it happens in case you write, you're spending a huge amount of money hoping you move here and you start getting rejection letters. Please don't be discouraged. You would have to apply to hundreds of hospitals and
Mm.
someone is going to pick you in this process. And just make sure you give your best shot. In case it doesn't work out, maybe you have an interview and you don't do well. You just learn from that. The good thing, I don't know for the UK, but for Australia, many of the hospitals, if you write to them, would even let you know where you performed well and where you didn't and what made you not to get the job.
Yes,
Sometimes
UK also does that.
well,
They
okay,
give you
good.
feedback.
Yeah, so it's very important. Some do that automatically. Others, you would have to ask them. So you ask them,
Yeah.
where did I do wrong? What made me not to get the job? They'll let you know. And you improve on that before you know. There are many of my guys that I left them to come here. And someone recently, just this week, told me he got a job too. And it came from being relentless. Whatever you do, just keep on applying and see how it goes with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I needed
That,
to
that's
put them.
that's also the case for most countries,
Yeah.
really. Even for a place
Yeah.
like the UK, I remember when I was applying, I applied.
Mm,
I got to a point. I said I wasn't. I told my husband I said I wasn't applying again. I was beginning to affect my mental health. That the
mm,
number of rejections I was getting was too much. That I couldn't deal with it anymore.
yeah.
But
Mm,
then it kept encouraging me and all of that.
mm,
And
yeah.
eventually, I just realized that because I got a lot of interviews, but then I
Mm,
just keep flopping during the interview.
yeah.
And until I met somebody who now puts me through how to go about the interview. You have to
Mm.
be relaxed. Anyway, that's a gist that we have to say in another video.
Exactly.
And it was
Exactly.
after then, by the time I did this, and then the first interview I went for after this experience, I got it. And the
Exactly.
next one, I was just like, I already have a job. I don't want to go for it. My husband was just like, just go and have an alternative. And then I
Mm,
went in for the second one. I got the job too. So I had
exactly.
like two offers. And then I was just like, okay, I need to stop applying right now. So I stopped
Mm,
applying. And then I started thinking, what else will I do? Which one will I go to and all of that? But then
Yeah.
before then, I applied for so many jobs.
Mm,
Now the thing is, the reason why that time is different from now is that time there's the hope that you will still likely get a job. But
yeah.
now it's
Mm,
crazy. Like
mm,
recently I went on Track Job. That's like the website where the hospitals advertise their vacancies and all of that.
mm,
And I struggled to actually find jobs for junior roles. Most of
mm,
the jobs were mainly for like middle grades. And I'm like, what exactly is going on? You know? So
yeah.
unlike those times that when you go on Track Job, there'll be a lot of jobs, a lot of
Mm,
vacancies for junior roles, but all of that now, it's all gone. So it's not just a matter of keep persisting. Yes, you can keep persisting, especially if you have the experience, the wealth of experience. But
yeah.
if you don't have a lot of experience now, the UK job
Yeah.
market is really, 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 really not promising. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, and that somehow affects Australia too, because many of the doctors in the UK are leaving for Australia, and those ones, hospitals will pick them over IMGs that don't have this experience. As the same thing after you've written the exams, because you're going to, as I say, you spent money, you want to move, you have to learn to be patient, and with all these setbacks, just build on them. Eventually,
Yeah.
you're going to get a job. Like
Yeah.
there's nowhere that doesn't need doctors. There's
Yeah.
no country that doesn't need doctors. It's just to
Yeah.
understand how to approach them and the rest. So Australia is a very good place. I would say that it is, and so far so good. I am enjoying the place. I would love to see, especially our brothers and sisters, come here too. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is really to have people you can connect with and all of that. Like it feels good. I remember my first job here in the UK. I met a lot of
Mm,
Nigerians in my job, so it made me a bit relaxed. That
mm,
okay, there are familiar faces. You get
yeah.
so it's really different when you just have. They don't have to be a lot, but just have a few people
Mm,
around you. Maybe you go to church or you go
mm,
out to the city center and then you just meet somebody that is looking like you. You get it can be very, very, very helpful and all of that.
exactly.
So, Emmanuel, let me take the
Yeah.
doctor out of it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really, really, really appreciate and thank you for your time. Thank you for the audience. Thank you for replying my emails. Thank you for everything. And I'm looking forward to our next video. And all right, do you have any like closing statements or closing remarks? Because you have really said a lot of amazing things today.
No, do I? I don't have anything. Thank you for having me. That's what I have.
Oh, okay, good, good,
Yeah,
good.
it's good that at least I got an email asking for a collab. Most of the time, emails about, I want to come to Australia, or I want to come to, you understand? So that was a breath of fresh air to me. And seeing that you're doing, because when you sent me that email, I was like very keen to see which doctor is doing YouTube, especially for the fact that you're training. It means you're quite passionate about this thing. And that is very encouraging. I was like, no matter how busy I am, and I've been busy, I said, we have to do this. It's good. It's
Yeah,
good
I
to do
am.
this.
Really, I am.
Um,
I am.
so so
Yeah.
thank you for having me. I don't take that for granted. And anytime I would want to, because the whole point of all these things, that's why I started my channel in the first place, was just to educate people so they have information and make very informed decisions as to
Yeah.
whatever they want to do in life. And many of us were looking for these such videos when we wanted to move to certain places and didn't find
Yeah.
them. So we
Yeah.
wanted to just make it easier for people to have at least, because for these abroad, the truth is this: information is more
It's
powerful than
power.
money. Is more powerful than money. They
Yeah.
can give you money like this with the wrong info. That money will go. But
You just be going around various websites, people just collecting your money from different angles, and you will still
yeah,
not know what you're supposed to do.
exactly. So that's it. Thank you for all you're doing to make things also easier for people that want to move to the UK or are in the UK and trying to navigate through the system. So it's a privilege. I'm honored to be introduced to your audience too. And I'm looking forward to next time. Maybe I'll reciprocate and invite you to talk to. We Australian people want to come to the UK. So anyway,
Anyway, I'm happy. Anytime, just let me know so that I can plan ahead. Because I'm a
yeah,
very busy woman anyway. So
wow,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
well
All right. Thank you
done.
so much. It was
Okay,
really lovely to meet you. Thank you very much.
no, same here. Take
Okay,
care.
guys, and this is where we're going to be ending this video until I see you guys again. Take care. Bye. Bye.
Yeah.